Previously on Fire Emblem 4, Genealogy of the Holy War. Crabs, crabbies, crab. Picking up right where we left off, our heroes, after building a completely useless wall, brace for impact as the enemy turn begins. The archer goes for Ethelyn while the axe user fights Nowish. The crab's love of arson is apparently so strong that they completely ignore enemies standing right next to them. This gives us the initiative, so I attack the criminal and actually land a hit this time, leveling up in the process. It's a shitty level up sure, but a level up nonetheless. Down below, Finn finishes off the archer and then I make my most stupid decision yet. Nowish asks me, "Hey boss, could you please send me in? I want to make things a little spicy." And oh boy did he make things spicy, because there was literally a 36% chance that he would outright die. That decision was so terrible that my computer deleted that scene out of pure embarrassment, but I'm just happy we still have our head chef's head fully intact. And Alex seemingly agrees as he swiftly takes down the enemy while shouting, "What good is a rival if he is dead?" And no truer words have ever been spoken. So after that close brush with death, we take a moment to recollect ourselves and heal up. Luckily for us, the enemy seems content to just continue to burn down innocent people's houses and don't come after us. However, this means that we are the ones that must attack, and against such a fortified castle, it'll be pretty tough. Sigurd initiates cleanly and then backs off into a forest tile for extra evasion. Alec finishes off the first foe and also retreats. The rest of the army stands in a way to minimize the number of enemies that can attack the same person. The only one who can be attacked from all sides is Sigurd, and out of all my units, I feel like he can take the most hits. Now Lex finally finishes off the crazy crab in the corner and then gets lectured by this old woman, who talks about some thing, a turfing, I think it was? But it was worth it because she gave us a bunch of gold. Then I move Azel barely into the range of one of the enemies to the south to bait him in. And for the first time ever, everything goes according to plan. The enemies are unable to penetrate our wall to the south, and the crab to the north shuffles up towards Azel to his doom. And now with the ball back in our court, all we have to do is clean up the few remaining soldiers protecting the castle. We place priority on the two enemies that actually moved last turn, as it seems like the other two are fine just standing there like a couple of morons. Then we move down Les and Azel to try to save what remains of the nearby village. After an uneventful enemy turn, I move Sigurd and Alec to do some damage while Finn and Nowish finish the job. Up north, I move Lex down closer to the perpetrator while Azel has a nice nap or something and stays where he was. In reality, I just misclicked the end turn button, but we'll just pretend that Azel's a lazy shit instead. The enemy then proceeds to burn down the house that Lex is standing on, which seems like it should be dangerous, but Lex just stands there unfazed. Kuan tries to impress his brother-in-law by jumping in and saving the village to the south, but misses completely. So, in true brotherly fashion, Sigurd swoops in and cleans up the mess Kuan just made. We managed to save just one home in the village, but it was completely worth it because the one remaining survivor gives us some sweet, sweet drugs. But anyway, it's finally time to take down the castle. Nowish leads the charge against Lord DiMaggio, who apparently left half his armor in the wash. Either that or Nintendo just wanted to slip in a bit of fan service for you ladies out there. And you men, I mean, even I can appreciate some nice muscles when I see them. Then Finn and Alec take their turns whittling down Maggie's HP, making sure to do the math before committing to prevent any unwanted deaths. Ethelyn heals up Finn once again, which is starting to get a bit suspicious. Like seriously, how many times has this been already? I said earlier that Finn was the third wheel, but maybe Kuan has to watch out before Ethelyn starts giving Finn a different kind of healing. Moving on though, Lex does some solid damage onto this. Wait, what? Another 92% miss? If the enemy wasn't so fixated on burning everything to the ground, we might actually be in trouble. Luckily for us, Azel wakes up from his slumber and moves up to take care of the last arson-loving crab next turn. Maggie heals a bit of HP back but doesn't do much else. On our turn, Azel gives the crab a taste of his own medicine with some 5th degree burns. Lex goes into town, but there he is met by the same old man we rescued before. The old man must have realized we stole his wallet and came chasing after us. Luckily, by the time he caught up, he'd already forgotten why he was even chasing us in the first place, so he decides to just give us another boring lecture. Since we already swiped his wallet before, he doesn't have much cash left on him, but money is money, so we take the 500 gold anyway. Back with our main forces, I get Nowish to do some damage and let Finn finish him off. There's a reason why all his friends call him the finisher. Wait, what was that? Finn doesn't actually have any friends and just pretends that everyone calls him the finisher because he just wants to be loved? Aw, that's alright, Finn. We'll be your friends. We'll call you the finisher, even if it is a little bit cringy. Moving on though, we put Alec onto the forest tile to safely bait one of the enemies towards us, while Kuan and Ethelyn exchange some secret goods. Probably nudes. I mean, back in those days, they didn't have these newfangled smartphones and internets. They had to do things the old-fashioned way, and I mean the pen, paper, and lots of imagination type way. But anyway, Sigurd goes and seizes the castle. This girl that I totally forgot even existed appears and then disappears again, and we find Medea's dead body on the concrete. Wait, he's not dead? God damn it, man. Do you know how much we've already spent getting your funeral prepared? You should have just stayed dead. Oh, sorry, what was that, Sir Sigurd? Nothing. Glad to have you back, Medea. I mean, at least now we have a bow knight. Yay, hallelujah. But then... holy shit, that's a lot of enemies. The two closer ones fall right into our trap, but Lex goes down to 3 HP, which was totally calculated. Then the fabulous Elvis makes his debut on the battlefield and promptly starts dissing our boy Sigurd.
Oh, sheesh, Sigurd, you don't impress me much.
But now that it's back to our turn, we have to figure out how to deal with the huge crab invasion. Azel cooks the closer crab while retreating back to join the main forces, and Lex runs to the church to heal. Medea shows us what he's capable of, and then everyone gallops up to join the purse-pilfering partners. The enemy charges forward predictably and end their turn. But before we begin ours, we have a quick commercial break. And we're back. Sigurd goes up to talk with Elvis, hoping to recruit him into our army, but all he does is give us a silver sword and hightail it out of there. I guess it must be pretty busy being the king of rock and roll and all, but I mean, come on, you could have at least given us an autograph or anything. But anyway... after wasting our time with that, I spend the next few minutes checking the range of all the enemies and counting squares to figure out where to build our wall. And yes, we're going to build another wall. Hey, it's the only strategy I've got, and it works. Everything goes according to plan as only 3 enemies are in range, and none of them do any significant amount of damage. But now what, you may ask, as the enemy is too close and can get around our wall next turn, and to that I say, this wall is no ordinary wall, It can move, and thus comes probably the most important tactic in a map as open as this, kiting. By moving back every turn to just within the opponent's range, you can limit the number of enemies that hit you while still whittling down their HP, and so the crabs come waddling down one by one to their death. While they're too scared to face the mighty Chef Nowish, Alec shows the enemy that he also knows his way around the kitchen. And would you look at that, their forces don't look nearly as intimidating as before, so we decide to push up and take care of the stragglers. And like the staff of a 5-star restaurant, the team works together to quickly and efficiently serve our customers. And the only thing on today's menu is death. The enemy spend their turn frozen in shock at the sight of a moving wall, so we take this chance to move up once again in hopes that they'll remain too scared to move. But I was sorely mistaken, because the enemy wasn't frozen in fear, but frozen in awe, and now they come rushing up towards us to get a closer look at our magical wall. And oh boy, are they going to get a closer look. First up, I move Sigurd in to get some free damage onto the hand axe user leading the charge. Then after making sure Medea can survive an attack from the archer next turn, I have him finish the guy off. After quickly building the wall again and ending our turn, the curious tourists come lining up at our front door to have a tour. Unfortunately for them, it's actually a public holiday today, so visitors are strictly forbidden. The tourists cry out in anger and even begin acting violent against the very wall they adore. But this wall can not only move but fight back as well, so I have Sigurd teach the angry tourists a little lesson before falling back with the rest of the army. Before I end my turn though, Azel decides to have a chat with Sigurd. The conversation doesn't make any sense as he talks about his brother Elvis as if he didn't just appear a couple of minutes ago. I guess Azel must have been dozing off again. That lazy bastard. Next time make sure you get enough sleep before coming to a war. In Evan's phase, the crazy tourists just keep charging forward demanding we let them in, but our security guard Alec shows them who's boss. Back in our phase, we continue to kite the enemy as usual, but then I make a huge mistake. With all of our other units being on horseback, it's easy to forget that Azel, our mage, has a much shorter walking distance than everyone else. This means that he just can't make it behind our wall and has to stand in the front lines, where he can be hit by 2 enemies at once. As mages are quite squishy, this could lead to outright death. The only one left to do anything is Medea, but he doesn't have any way of helping Azel as standing in front of him will just get him killed instead. So I move him down to give Azel moral support as the team all crosses their fingers and hopes for the best. First, Finn takes down the enemy to the north, but then comes the moment of truth. With a 60% chance to hit, everyone holds their breath as the crab scuttles up to Azel. And just like that, a collective sigh of relief echoes throughout the army as Azel comes out of the battle without even a scratch. And after witnessing Azel's amazing luck, the archer decides it's not even worth it and goes for Sigurd instead. The arrow is cleanly dodged, and now all that's left is to finish the remaining enemy. Sigurd whittles down one of the archers while Azel does the same to a hand axe user, dodging yet another greater than 50% chance. Damn, this boy does not mess around, at least when he's not taking a nap. Quan shows off by taking out an archer single-handedly while Finn kills the guy with only 2 HP left. Like, we get that you're Finn the finisher and all, but I think we now understand why Ethelyn chose Quan over you. Alec and Medea kill the last 2 remaining foes, and then everyone moves up towards the final remaining castle. The next few turns are spent riding to victory while Azul lags behind half asleep. Ah well, I guess he's done enough work for one day, so I'll let him rest up a bit. Finally, we reach the castle, only to find yet another horrifying half-naked hooligan waiting for us. At this point, victory is all but secured, so the team decides to screw around a bit. Rather than all charging the castle together like any smart commander would do, they go in one by one to see who can land the finishing blow. It takes the entire army to topple this monster, but in true anime fashion, for the first time in his entire life, Finn misses his finishing blow, and Kuan has to come to his rescue and defeat the final boss. But why, Kuan? Why did you save me? Because you are my friend, and what kind of friend would stand by and watch the other die? Oh, Kuan! Oh, Finn. You fucking bastard, try to steal my wife. If she wasn't right there, I'd fucking kill you. Sorry, what was that? Oh, nothing, Finn. Just thinking about how much I love you. I love you too, Kuan. I love you so much. Yes, Finn. Now could you get off me? You're smearing snot all over my armor. And thus the prologue comes to a close, but before that we get one more old man to lecture us. Sigurd becomes the Holy Knight of the Kingdom, and we are told that we get a cash prize for each castle we manage to protect. And I think we all know which of those two I'm most excited about. But alas, it's time for this episode to come to an end. With the crab infestation finally dealt with in Granbull, join us next time on Fire Emblem 4 Genealogy of the Holy War, where Sigurd and our team of unlikely heroes head west to rescue Milady Ideen. See you then.